Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Power of Love Summit. My name is Marcela Widrig, and my company name is called Fierce Embodiment. And if you want to find me, that's how you'll find me, fierceembodiment.com. And essentially, the work that I do is looking at all of the ways that our richness and our resourcefulness that is naturally in the body, the ways that it gets blocked and stopped by past hurts and traumas and humiliations and fears, and how can we, through the body, both unlearn what we have been carrying around with us, and sort of free up our natural state, free up our natural essence, if you will, our potential, the freedom of the heart in this case, the clarity of the heart, and the purity of our presence. Big ask, but what we're going to do today is do a practice that I'm calling nourishing a clear, strong heart. So, needless to say, right now there are seemingly endless demands on our heart, like endless demands to pay attention, to recognize the amount of suffering and pain, things that conflict with our hearts and our worldview, things that weigh us down and burden us and can often leave us feeling very hopeless, sometimes helpless or powerless. Maybe we become hardened and we become angry, but ultimately, like if it gets stuck inside of us, the way that we are relating to the world, it leaves us a bit impotent or less effective, less rich in the way that we want to meet the world. And the way that I look at it through the body is we can't force an experience. So we can have a longing to be more pure-hearted or more full of heart energy, more clean, if you will, or clear. We can have a desire to recognize what's human and close and potentially even deeply touching our lives. But we can't force that energy to come out, because if it's burdened and if it's kind of layered on by all the events that are happening today, but also our own past, our own past hurts that maybe we still carry around or have buried deep, but despite having buried them deeply, the effort of holding them back rests on our heart, rests on our chest, rests elsewhere in our body. So we hold both, is what I'm suggesting. We hold the natural energy that we have inside of us to love, to be free, to be close to one another, to accept, to have kind of a broad agility to pay attention to what's happening in the world with those around us. And we also have the scars, the tiny cuts, the bigger cuts that have been maybe up until now, despite whatever training and practice you've done, there are still leftovers. There's still burdens that we carry. And so we're going to try today to start to unburden, unlayer, kind of take maybe the fibers that have really gotten locked in and stiff and less agile, not only in our heart, but the whole area around our heart. And we're going to start to soften them and delayer them and then bring forth whatever energy needs to come out. So on the way to basically having a stronger heart, we also have to develop the capacity to feel the sorrow, to feel the grief, to feel the pain of the uncertainty. Because without that we're cutting ourselves off from some of our human capacity. And with it, as we open it, then our hearts can move in the world much more strongly, with much more clarity and unburdened from life and from the past. So that's what we're going to do in our practice. What I would like you to do right now, you can write it down if you want. We're not going to spend any time journaling, but just if it helps you kind of pay attention. Take a moment, and you can do this with eyes closed and then write, or just hold it in your awareness. Take a moment to consider something that you know is resting heavily on your heart. And what I would suggest for this practice is that you don't take the biggest thing, because we have 10, 15 minutes together. And I want to be sure that you're gaining a capacity of strength and clarity and breath and freedom in your chest and in the upper back and in the heart zone. So if you take the biggest thing, that might be a little bit too challenging, but take something that weighs on your heart, or that you know somehow is still alive in you, even if it happened a week ago or a year ago, 5 minutes ago. The tiny cuts, or maybe not so tiny, but the bigger cuts to your heart that have left a mark, and you're still somehow in your mind, maybe in your emotional energy, busy with this situation. It's still weighing on you. And then when you're clear about what you're going to pay attention to, just close your eyes. If you're struggling to choose, it doesn't really matter. All roads are going to lead to a clearer, stronger heart. And take 5 nice, deep breaths, as deep as you're able right now, into the area of your chest. It doesn't matter if it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. What we want with these breaths is just a way to create a little movement in this area of your chest. And it's the start of a practice. So it's the start of paying attention to your body. And now with your awareness after these breaths, go to the situation that you chose. And remember it. Remember what's unresolved for you. If there's hurt, notice that there's hurt. If there's anger, notice that there's anger. Whatever's there. There's a disconnect that somehow leaves you uncertain, lonely, missing somebody. And then as you bring this situation more into your awareness and more, let's say, alive in your awareness, notice the area of your chest, the area of your maybe shoulders, upper back, the area behind your chest, just like what would be behind the heart. Maybe even throat and neck. Just starting with this area of the body of how do you hold this situation in your body still? How is it burdening you? Kind of keeping emotions churning in place, but nothing actually moving through to a new experience, to an opening, maybe to a lightening. And really taking note of what's there. If it's heaviness, contraction, lack of movement, tightness. Now, I pointed out an entire area of the upper body, but you may be drawn to one area in particular there. So go to what stands out right now, the sensation that stands out. And I'd like you to try to emphasize this sensation. So the intensification could be a contracting of the muscles a little bit, or a tightening of the chest, a rounding of the upper back. These are just suggestions because I'm not with your body, but I've worked with so many bodies and I see how much we protect the heart because of these unresolved hurts. Just intensifying it a little bit, not dramatically so, just enough that it's like you've turned the volume up 5% more. And you're paying attention to what that does to you. And I know it's uncomfortable. I get it. Just feel how you become a bit more limited and how you're protecting your heart potentially in some way. And then take as deep of an inhale as you can in this contracted experience. And on the exhale, start to soften. Just starting to soften as much as possible. You can bring your hand to your chest and breathe as fully as you can and continue to soften. And notice what's there. You may notice a pattern of holding and tightness that you hadn't before. You may notice that there's a kind of emotional energy that comes up. You may feel disconnected. Anything is possible. But keep paying attention and stay with your body. And take another full few deep breaths in, because we're going to do this again with another layer added into it. And now go back to the situation and remember it again. What lays heavy on your heart? What burdens your heart about this situation? What is unresolved? And feel how you hold this lack of resolution, this lack of flowing energy, whatever it is. And again, starting to contract around it, starting to intensify your posture of protection, let's call it. But remember the people involved. It could be the world events, suffering that's happening, or a person that's hurt that you love, or a disconnect. But remember it. And start to see if you begin to feel something deeper as you go into this more. Some sorrow, maybe, some pain, some yearning to connect, a longing to make a difference, whatever it is. Now you're going to take a deep inhale. And as you melt the effort, bring the deeper experience forth just by paying attention, feeling it. It might be a warm flow. It might come with tears. It might feel like something deep in your belly is beginning to emerge. Whatever it is, if it's a longing, if it's a pain, if it's heartbreak, if it's a deep wish for something, to reconnect, to heal, to clear space, we are just delayering it. So nothing that's happening right now is wrong. It is whatever it is you are able to meet in yourself and in your area of your chest, your upper back, your heart. Deep full breaths, and just very gently, like you can put your hand where you feel maybe an ache in your heart or just where your heart is, and simply begin to move that area around as you breathe. Now, this isn't separate from the emotional experience potentially, or maybe the hurt that's coming to the surface, maybe the feeling even of helplessness or powerless, but instead of it being buried down, it's starting to come up and move through your heart and move through your chest and your breath so that you free this energy. And just gentle movement, like softening, as if you could, through the upper carriage of your body, begin to move your heart around. And I'm aware that this would be really great with music, but it's not something we're able to do at this time. Or maybe later you can find something that really awakens your heart, and just moving with that music and moving with your heart. But right now, just paying attention. It's like beautiful muscle that's deep inside your chest. Can you move it? Can you move it front and back? Can you move it side to side? Can you move it in a circle? Any kind of movement. You're just seeking that out as you breathe. And as you do this movement and as you breathe, remember what it is that you are wanting or longing for or regretful of in this situation that you chose, but let it be energy that moves through you. You're not going to stop it. You're not going to force anything to be different or better. You're actually going to move the energy through your body, staying attentive to your heart and attentive to what you want, attentive to what you long for, attentive to maybe the tenderness that is coming through, or the vulnerability that you're beginning to feel, or maybe the anger that's surfacing. That can burden and tighten our heart very easily. Whatever layer you're meeting, but the difference is you're not contracting and protecting, you're actually letting it move and bringing your heart into this movement. And taking several full deep breaths as you move. Merging what maybe you had hardened around as an energy that's moving with your breath. Letting potentially your whole body feel the tenderness or the fullness or the pain or the grief, sorrow, whatever's there. The love that may be coming forth, the lightness that might be moving through. Whatever layer you've undone will start to reveal the next layer or the next energy of experience. And then we're going to let this experience become further nourished with what I call the heart-hugging breath. I can't take credit for this breath. I learned it from Tara Judell of Embodied Flow, and I believe she got it from Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. but I find it to be just a beautiful practice that continues to nourish your experience. So you have, by this time, more connection to the center area of your body where you hold your heart, where your heart is pulsating beat by beat. So expand now your awareness to your lungs. And begin to fill your lungs with your breath. We've already been doing that, but it's just a deeper shift of your awareness. Your lungs are like these bags that you can fill with air. And they can expand down to the lower rib, all the way up to the top rib, out to the underarm, the front of the body, the back of the body. It's these balloons that you can fill with air. And there will constantly be little places that haven't gotten movement yet. Just gracefully, like not forcing anything, you're filling this space of your lungs a little bit more with every inhale. And then on the exhale, you just relax. Let the air come out. And now with this awareness of the breath in your lungs and the expansiveness in your lungs, with every inhale, become aware of the area of your heart and how the lungs wrap around your heart. So every inhale is like a hug to the heart. As your lungs fill, and as you exhale, your heart simply gets to be in space, softening. Inhale and hug the heart. And then when you exhale, allowing the nourishment that your heart gets from that to be present and felt, blood pumping through, in and out. And we're going to keep this going for the next 2 minutes, just so you are aware of how to drop your attention in. And I can talk a little bit less, but keep prompting. Fill your lungs, hug your heart. Exhale and feel the space around your heart. Dropping deeply into this place of where your heart and your lungs work together. With each inhale, you hug your heart. With each exhale, your heart is in space, full, healthy, pulsating. There's no effort. There's attention and awareness. Take one more heart-hugging breath. With the lungs just gently covering and hugging the heart, or not covering, but just hugging. And then as you exhale, just feeling the energy in the heart, the space where your heart is, and whatever qualities you notice that you hold there. as you continue to do that, take a moment and feel what you want to put in the world. It might be attentiveness, generosity, availability, give and take, strength of heart, clarity of heart. All these qualities of that naturally are there when there's love. Just what you are longing to put in the world from your heart. Bring your hands onto your heart if it's not there. If you dropped it down, just put it there. And for the next 3 breaths, full inhales, really feeling what it is you want to put into the world from this heart of yours. As you do this, know that there are going to be thousands of people that will do this practice. And they were all bringing these desires that we hold in our heart and what we want to put into the world. This energy is not something that we're keeping private, but it's going out and opening up and spreading. Taking one last deep inhale with this longing and desire that you have. And as you exhale, just gently taking your hands away from your chest, and then you can drop your hands down into your lap and let that area of your heart feel the air in front of it, feel the space in front of it, just going out into these next moments of your life and further. And that is our practice of nourishing a clear, strong heart. And thank you. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy the beautiful subject that is the power of love of this conference.